In this game today, I'm going to showcase another eco play that I'm starting to get into the eco spot more and more lately and really refine things. For whatever reason, people in lobbies let me have it, and so that's a good vote of confidence. I never claim it, I just happen to stumble upon it despite being a lowly 15 rank. It seems like a lot of people want to go front now, and we see that here. The red wants to go on actually the most difficult lane because it's very important, and we've also got our yellow here, which is not the sort of counter canyon which usually a high OS player will take it. Also, we've got our orange in the front of the canyon here, and we've got a couple of noobs. So I wouldn't say noobs, but a similar ranked player to me actually here. So this is pretty solid. On the other team, I don't actually recognize anyone too much. I mean, you've got Spam here, which is a recognizable name, and I don't recognize them at all. So there you go. It's just, it must be outside of my usual time zone that I'm playing this game. So pretty much my build order is this, if you're not familiar with it, is we produce 2 construction bots, 1 construction bot, 1 Lazarus, 1 construction bot. I build this construction turret on the way, and I get my commander to assist, and we send off a construction bot over here. It means most mexes are up in 3 minutes. Either one will come through and build the advanced bot lab, whoever's finished first generally. So we can get that started. This is actually super early today. It's before the 3-minute timing, and it's always a struggle. It depends on wind, it depends on many varieties, but I think this build is fairly solid. I do prefer having that energy storage, even though I'm not getting the actual energy in place that I would like. So we're just a little bit unlucky today with the energy. When the wind speed is a little bit low, you do need to overbuild. And these energy converters, I think I built them too quickly. It's only if we're clearly excessing energy for some time. But that's wind for you. No one controls it, and look, it affects all players equally bad. And it pays super early at the sort of 3-minute 30 stage, is getting very excited. So we're metal rich, which is sometimes the worst because these guys take 7,000 energy to produce, the T2 constructors. We're going to struggle with only 200 energy income, that's for sure. Now my commander's getting ready to chuck in the tower, so I'm just building these last sort of energy converters and windmills before going off and serving a sentence. 4 is a pretty good number, and as we can see, the energy bursts, we're still going to excess some energy, so it's good compromises for. The time I'm sending my commander to its doom, we've got about 20 wind turbines up as well. And also I'm bringing this Lazarus back for instant reclaim of the commander. I'll show you why, because look at this. Look at how many Lazarus people build nowadays. It's like everyone's greeting onto this stuff. And we see, I mean, these are 2 Lazarus out of Bloodbear. I don't know what flag that is. I think it's maybe Russian, but yeah, a bit ornery. I actually don't notice for whatever reason. Usually I would ask for the reclaim. I'm finding 1 in every 2 times I'm actually getting my commander reclaimed. This is just like really annoying stuff. Like, look at how many Lazarus there are. That's 5. Oh, so annoying. But whatever, it's going to put us behind because we are also going to gift some T2s, and it's just showing what the best eco players for the team. I think it was definitely, this is at least the noob spot that Bloodbeer is in, which is disgusting. Possibly a disgusting name if it means what I think it means. Can you imagine? Triggered my angst has Bloodbeer, but we're still going to throw him a constructor. Usually that would be the rule. You suck up my commander unless you overpay in the metal back. You're not getting a T2 constructor off me. When we're getting to the 20 to 25 wind turbine stage, it's good to start popping down these advanced solar collectors and making sure if the wind dies, we've at least got some energy generation. We can start thinking about a second constructor turret here because we're floating a little bit of metal. I think I'm being a bit overly generous in this game. I'm going to have to stop that and giving early T2 constructors, especially before 7 minutes, even if it's to red. If they don't pay, oh no, they did pay. I'm wrong. They just slightly underpaid perhaps. Paddy, better than nothing. Actually, probably around the 9-minute mark is a little bit better, depending 8 to 9 minutes. That's where you really start to float some metal. It's just all dependent on how many people pay you, etc, etc. Whenever I see myself getting above like 300 metal or so, it's time for another constructor turret. So this is not a crazy amount of wind turbines. I'm in favour. I haven't done it in this game for whatever reason because my energy has been good, but quite often I'm walling and putting down some wind turbines either side by now to help with the energy generation. For me, I aim at generally around the 10-minute stage, getting the free construction T2 to people. And it should align with me on this build. I actually finish off all my advanced metal extractors at that point. With luck, with of course the gods of wind blessing us. So that's it with constructors for now. We're all finished at the 11-minute 30 stage. We're starting to wall up with our butlers with these series of windmills. Seriously, this can be a wall at times. It can stop enemy spy bots. It can stop basically ticks coming through in the later part of the game. Surprising how often that happens and ruining your day. But most importantly, it declares the boundary they can't keep on building into it, particularly if you get a bit of a troll player. Like, this isn't really fair. I'm going to start pushing back on this. I might have to start building early windmills or something like that. It's too much room. Unless it's a really high ranked player, I might let them have privilege, but I'm not confident they're actually going to use this space efficiently, and it's going to limit where I can go. One of my pet peeves is when you quickly draw a box of wind turbines, it sort of makes a mess of it. I'm not sure if that's going to get fixed up in the game, if there's a lag issue. Oh, I'm not sure. So with this game, I've sort of kerfuffled the build order, and I've built these basically at the same time. Not sure what I've done here. It's going to set me back a bit. I'm not going for hounds. The front line looks very steady. Like, this is... Look at this. Die! A huge charge just doing nothing. That's one way to get rid of your C1 units, I guess. Saves reclaiming them. Yes, anyway, it looks fairly steady, so let's continue on scaling. Just compare ourselves with the opposition here. I'm actually going to pause ourselves for this, so we're locked at a time, right? Now, I'm not necessarily going off the nut with scaling yet. You're not going to see the results of it. But one thing we do see is this player is actually having to assist the front, and just how much it holds back the eco, we're going to look at. Although it's good to, of course, support your front friends, you've got to realise how much of an impact that has on the whole game later on. So those two simultaneous reactors coming online was a little bit different. Sometimes that happens. One mistake I've done here is put this reactors basically in the path of the turret farm line, which usually can extend all the way across here. So this is going to sort of mess with my scaling a little bit. Let's just 20 times forward. We're going to see this base develop. So we get down the AN about the 16-minute stage. We've almost forgot about this energy converter T2 over here. We're again doing the tricks with the two APHIS. Now what I'm finding here, and this is usually the case, is it's really hard to get through the excess energy. Now I'm experimenting with this. I'm finding for whatever reason we weren't too late with this, despite doing the weird reactor play, having some setbacks with our metal extractors, having to give away free T2s. We've had everything bad happen apart from bad wind, which is the worst event of all. So the wind has blessed us. We're a little bit late with the advanced energy constructors, and we're still going to get this down at about the 20-minute stage, despite the fact we've built 3 reactors and 2 APHIS. And a whole ton of wind turbines. Not too many, but you know, it's nice. It's a nice amount. My strategy with the base is, if you haven't heard me talk about it before, is I've got an APHIS line, and at the back we've got these energy converters. We try and keep most of them back here. Ideally separate and unchained. I don't always do that. If you get bombed, yes, the turret farm goes down first. That's no worries. If the APHIS gets taken down, well, you know, they've deserved that. If they've come all the way back here and flown past whatever air defenses I've got, right, they've deserved that APHIS hit. But I should have killed enough bombers they won't be able to take out APHIS. And last of all, we've got our super vulnerable advanced energy converters, which we really don't want to die. They're sitting the furthest away, and that's responsible for a lot of our econ. So if the turrets go down, right, hopefully if we separate them out a little bit, we could still build them back super quick, and we're not going to really take any economic damage. As the game evolves though, we might have to bring forward our economy out here, but hopefully by that stage we've got shields, we've got AA, that's just going to make it so hard to kill it that it might as well be back at the back of the map. But earlier on, this is our best defense, is simply putting things back a lot. I've also tucked this AN as much as I can. I usually do. I could put down some extra constructor turrets here and here, something like that. No, they can't get here anyway, just to protect from the EMP from spy bots. So now we're arriving at the front line with 3 Razorbacks and Marauders. Pretty much ready at the 22-minute stage for some sort of attack. Now, I am in the camp of possibly following Atheos's lead here by putting down some spam. Would help a lot and exploit any breakthrough, or maybe find a sneaky commander, because we're going to find an issue here, I reckon, with this attack. So initially I come over here to actually support the canyon, just from a nasty spider attack. And I'm forming up here, but we can see the blue player, which is, you know, Cluey player, the pot, moving their commander forward and also supporting this pitbull construction. Ideally, we would have kept this actual force hidden until this moment right here. If we had a flood of ticks right now, I'd be able to see that commander. So we move forward like a big prime target for this commander, and the obvious happens. Very hard lesson learnt. And they can even, what's worse, is they can just bring this commander back to life. Like, I'd feel progress if the commander was out of the fight. Maybe I might adopt just attacking ground after that commander dies. Basically 0 progress made, apart from, oh no, well the other commander went down at least. 0 progress made apart from sort of attacking some porcupine defences here, but not even that many. What we're doing, however, is we're starting to apply a little bit of pressure. Blue, of course, is taking no notice of that pressure and building an Aphis. I can build an Aphis a lot quicker, however. At the same time, we're also building a few more Razorbacks to try another attack. It's still early enough in the game to use lighter T3 units to great success. Although canyon, it is traditional to attack out a canyon or to attack in canyon, I do wonder with the commanders and how hard they are to see, if it's just better to strike through these laneways and create impact that way. If we can build enough spam. I think it's dependent on the spam situation. So that's what I'm going to try in the future. We're going to fast forward here as we continue to scale. Let's see exactly what we're doing in the base over time. I just wanted to stop here actually. So we've already had like a very ineffective attack, let's admit. And we're sort of on equal footing now, but I don't think really spam has had much of an opportunity for attack. They've just had to scale basically like crazy. And we can see that we've got double the economy despite them somehow having 4 Aphis up. So I don't really get how that works, but there you go. We've got magic Aphis, that's the difference. We've got a few reactors, I don't know. Oh, there we go, it just wasn't spiking. They're maxing out on metal, which can happen. I'm scaling at the same time I'm building. I know it's not necessarily always advisable, but it's just easier, honestly, on the APM. I'm being pretty conservative with my units too. I just have them back. I have them in a central location to respond to if the enemy eco does any sort of crazy marauder rush somewhere. I can respond to it. As we scale, we see my love of Titans. Although we haven't got a, I suppose, what you could call a contiguous turret forest, and my T2 constructor's a little bit stuck and running in place. Let's just stop this for a moment actually. Even though I have all this sort of inefficiencies, we've still been able to get up 6 Aphis pretty quick. We've got these energy converters all nice and safe over here. I don't think they should chain. I might be wrong about that because of this one constructor turret here, possibly chaining things. But it's a fairly safe base, and we're getting up to the 30-minute mark. And to be honest with you, this is all the Aphis you should need, unless it goes into the Super Late game. So this time I've been communicating with Anik 100, the yellow player. It's time to attack. They were asking me before if it was time to attack, and now I'm like, yeah, now I've got 2 Titans. I'm ready with some supporting units. A much more impactful attack. I'm sending my Marauders forward to flush out any commanders anyway. Of course, a very expensive way to do it. Fortunately, these commanders are a little bit out of place by the time we hit. We've got spiders on the wall here, we've got all sorts of defences, but against T3, we just blast through it. I'm using my razors instead of my Titans to get blown up by the commander, but we can see, fortunately for us, the commander has completely retreated, and perhaps his demon's going to run into him. There we go. So we can see that now. I think the Razorback's going to die to him. Yep. 2 Razorbacks, and finally we can kill it off. But you know what is alive? These Titans. And that's the whole point of the lighter T3 units. The counterattack is coming, but just a mite too late. So whereas the other attack was completely useless, this attack is a phenomenal success. Now the one setback we're having is getting bombed by nuke bombers. They do a phenomenal amount of damage. It's quite terrifying actually. The normal bombers do nothing. Wow. That's so much better than normal bombers. Damn. We pretty much completely cleared this out anyway. I think Spectrum or Skeptrum or whatever the name is, 3 Chefs, a little bit angry about that, but man, you didn't have a choice there. Apart from some lucky commander play, which didn't end up happening for you guys. I'm pushing down here because, you know, it's the thing to do, but look at the amount of Porcupine here. This is just crazy. Hero Pulsar and just a heap of Pitbulls with the commander chasing me down. So I'm not getting through this front line in a hurry. And I recognise that and retreat. So for the moment, I'm not going to do anything with this base. I'm happy with 6 APHIS and Titan construction. So it's a bit of a quiet time for me, honestly. The only difference is I've built these vehicle plants. I'm recognising the need for spam now, because I'm not going to go lighter T3. But in lieu of just, you know, having some useless bot spam, I'm going to have hefty stout spam. It's a bit of an experiment for us. I'm also starting to max out on metal, so I've had to build a few more constructor turrets, no worries. I just want to check what Blood Beer is doing, and built a couple of nukes and a whole heap of spam, and just like taking up too much room. I noticed after they reclaimed my commander, they built like 2 metal storages. It's a different way of building things, just likes to spread out. So it's time for me to attack again. I'm just too eager, I'm not waiting for spam. We're doing some damage, but honestly, I'm surprised by the amount of damage, because now they've got more nuke bombers, right? I'm surprised how quickly they focus me down. This is just crazy. How much they cost? I know they are expensive, but let's face it, this air also has a phenomenal amount of fighters up, so they must be that expensive. There are a couple of thousand in metal, 2,200. We see plenty of APHISes and that, right? Our air has actually been phenomenally outclassed. Sorry, Buzz and Era, but it comes down to an econ level. They've just scaled more successfully, and we can see just the stupid amount of fighters on the screen protecting these nuke bombers. I've never seen such an effective defense from air. I mean, it's showing 500 fighters. Like, what the hell? This is crazy. Yeah, good thing they didn't bomb us, and good thing they're bombing my Titans. Let's just put it that way. I didn't know it all this time, but we were on the verge of losing. So perhaps our pressure was actually doing something after all. It does. What pressure does psychologically, it puts a lid on the other team. Even if the trade is bad, which I can assure you on an efficiency level, it is horrible. Despite the fact we have knocked it Canyon out, it's still some very expensive trades happening. I'm also telling Yellow to spam. I think they were going to do it anyway, but just to sort of put a bit of pressure on the Canyon, keep them locked in place. So the Shivers have been a little bit more, I suppose, cautious in their attack, but still getting absolutely blown up by the nuke bombers and EMP'd. I'm asking air to snipe the nuke bombers, and yeah, they're getting a little bit cocky. So again, we push forward with about 3 Titans, but I think it's turned against us now. We can see just the sheer number of Thors here. We're also attacking with our stream of tanks now. At least with these Titans, I'm so mixed in with the forces that they don't want to bomb me. So, at least I got taken out by ground troops that time. Funny thing is, the pod here says might want to scout for RAG at around the 39-minute stage, which is wise. Because we're actually talking about putting a RAG up, I think. Oh, here we are. It's almost done. It's like Blue knew. Maybe he's part of a Discord or something and hears this talk. The advantage definitely is with green, but I think they want to keep the advantage in fighters and don't really want to scout too far. I'm personally disheartened with all this attacking going nowhere, but it's keeping the enemy on the back foot. Eco's going crazy, making up for scaling for lost time here. Bit of a cleaner base. Everyone's starting to panic about the air situation. Oh, we see a nuke come through from Bloodbeard. That's not a phrase I thought I'd ever say in my life. So an issue with this tank, which I'm experimenting with, is if the enemy just makes a billion starlights. Like, they don't care if it's a grunt. The difference with a stout, I guess it can take 2 shots from a starlight. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, 1 or 2. Okay, so the rag is up finally, and we see it starting to hit actually quite forward. Although it's hitting this frontline player, I wouldn't say this is necessarily GG. Because look where this rag's positioned, right? I don't think it can hit all the enemy. It can only hit here. For some reason, some shots are going longer from inaccuracy, I guess. So in this case, oh, we can see this team was starting to go a calamity, but it's too late now. The funny thing is, this is a very defendable Ragnarok because of its positioning. I'm not sure why it was built so far back. I guess that's where the construction turrets were. Okay, so the morale loss is complete. So there you go. Maybe the endless attacks actually took a toll on the enemy after all. Because usually a team wouldn't necessarily resign so early. But we had taken down their canyon. We hit them again and again and again, put them on the back foot. I think that one player sort of going down and their sort of porcupine defense, it was like, let's just stop this. It is the unfortunate thing. No one unit should be able to do that, like what the Ragnarok does. Personally, I think it should have 50% to 1/3 the fire rate. I think it would be balanced then. If I want to look on the cost here, it costs 63,000 metal. I was under the illusion it costs a whole lot more than that. I mean, that's not that much. That's like 6 Thors or something. It's not that hard to produce. It's 7 Thors, right? Which we can knock out rather quickly. I don't even need to build an experimental lab for that, right? So it's, let's face it, 6 Thors an experimental lab. Maybe I should just rush Ragnarok. Just the outweighed effect it has. The only thing is it does require a little bit of energy, but I mean, shooting this much per shot, it's a stupid unit. Anyway, we'll destroy an enemy resource production. I get the reward for with my little push. I also took the most damage, which I don't know how I feel about that. I guess shows I'm attacking with my forces. So there you go. I just want to show you some learnings from the attack. So what worked well there in Canyon, what we can learn from the stout push and where it's effective and where it's not so much. I think definitely it might be more effective in Canyon where you can sort of wind around here and sneak up on the enemy more. So something to think about if that's still outstanding rather than attacking the open front. I think it might be best to go with bot spam. Also, how to save up forces and push forward with them, and working coordination is always going to be better. And sometimes attacks, look, they're just not even going to work. At least they put pressure on the other side. And lastly, nuke bombers. If I'm going to ever play air again, I think I'm not even going to worry about normal bombers, and I'm just going to build nuke bombers for the defense of the front line because they're so much more effective. They are good versus enemy T3, which is, let's face it, the enemy T3 can also shoot us out of the sky, but if we've got enough of them, it should be a reasonable trade for us. That's what I found in this video. Thanks very much for watching the video. I find videos like this have just made me so much a better player and able to turn the tables for the team. I hope you find the same too, and you can incorporate some of these lessons into your gameplay. Leave a comment below, otherwise chuck me a like or subscribe. See you next video.